Hello and welcome to our Workplace webinar. Firstly, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Jacqueline Bird and I head up the Workplace Consultancy at Crown Workspace, along with their Move and Change Management division. I'm here with my associate, Kate Palmer, today. Kate, would you like to say hello to our viewers?
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. So yeah, I'm Kate Palmer. I'm the HR Advice and Consultancy Director here at Peninsula, and we're the UK's leading HR and health and safety consultancy firm, and I oversee a department of 260 HR experts who are supporting UK businesses with everything HR. So thanks, Jackie. Wow. Great to be here.
No problem. Lovely to have you. So what are we here to talk about today? Well, there's been a massive seismic shift in how we work in recent years for a number of reasons, predominantly the pandemic. But I really don't want to focus on that today because that's so old news now. But there has been a battle of opinion about whether or not the workforce should continue to work in a hybrid fashion or if they should be coming more into the office full time and re-engaging with the business. So, Kate, what are your thoughts on that, please? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's really different, to be honest, Jackie, dependent on the industry you're in, the company, the size of the business, location. And we see all sorts of different kind of tried and tested and new approaches to the way of working. So we see some businesses and actually quite a few more of recent times where they are insisting on a full office working model, and that works for them based on the role, the seniority of the individual and so forth. But we see many that have a hybrid approach, and it really does work, kind of best of both worlds. But we do see some with full home working, not as many as they were, quite honestly, and a bit of a shift back to certainly a higher percentage hybrid in office and full time in the office. But it's a real nice mix, to be honest, dependent on the context of the situation, Jackie.
Yeah. And I think that's important. In my experience, I don't think there is one size fits all. I really think it's dependent on the organisation. It really depends on your makeup of your staff, your demographic, and really how you work. So I think you have to adapt that to whether hybrid works for you, working from home works for you, or whether you need that engagement and to be more present in the office. And I think every employer, needs to look at that closely and decide what's for them. But I think a healthy mix of all is probably what I would advocate, to be honest. There's some of our clients have found it's really difficult to get certain members of staff back into the office. What are your tips on trying to entice them back?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, there's the legal position. I'll not get too much into that, but you've got to have the contractual right to have someone in the office, otherwise you may have challenge, etc. But if you've got that and you are enticing and making it attractive and appealing, there's all sorts of nice things and creative things you can do. Obviously, the space which you're in, the attractiveness of that, collaboration spaces, nice facilities, nice kitchen facilities, lots of social events and interaction between colleagues within the office, and an environment which is conducive to that is really key. Now, businesses do all sorts like breakfast, through all the kind of what some people say cliche stuff. And obviously that doesn't fundamentally engage someone, but it's all nice stuff that helps. So there's all sorts of good stuff,
isn't it, in the space at the time? It all benefits you. So what we found is during, the time we were all spent at home during the pandemic, that people really put time and effort into their home office. They had amazing tech, sometimes better than what they've got at work. And so what we found is you really need to replicate what people can have at home, and you need those social spaces. You need the spaces where you can collaborate, you can reconnect with the business, you can just be present. And that's really, really important, because after all, if work isn't anything, it's social. We all go to work to mix with our colleagues, and I think, lots of us have made lifelong friendships there. Some of us have met their partner there. And so, it's really, really important that you have those spaces that you can, just be present, which is really important. So just wanted to understand some of the challenges that your clients have experienced when, navigating the landscape of the whole office environment. What are typically some of the biggest challenges you're seeing at the moment?
I think the biggest challenge is that actual kind of diverse desire for home working or office working. And I think when someone's been at home for quite a long time and they've built the life around that home working, childcare responsibilities, child drop-offs and pickups, to then be told they need to commute and travel into a business can be really challenging to persuade that individual to be on board. So that's the biggest challenge we see with businesses right now, that dichotomy, I suppose, between desires, and that's quite difficult to navigate because it's quite emotional, to be honest. It's very personal to you. So that's the biggest challenge, and really persuasive and good discussions need to happen with that, and you need to have a strong contractual position within your documentation to enable that to happen. So that's the biggest one. No one likes conflict, but it can create a bit of conflict.
Yeah, sure. And there's there is an expectation now that when you apply for a job, there's a level of flexibility. And some people won't even entertain a job where some of that's not present.
That is very true, and something that employers need to think about in a world where the race for talent is massive. Your candidates, it is a candidates market, a bit more constricted and contracted than it was maybe a year and a half ago, but still candidates do have the choice of jobs, and if their desire is home working or hybrid and you're not offering that at the get-go, they will just move on and find another employer. So you are right, it's how you present yourself at recruitment stage.
Yeah, and what we found is it's really managing the managers through change how they work and how they manage their staff so that they can have that level of confidence on people working in a hybrid fashion, and get the most out of them without having that presenteeism, which really isn't healthy. So brilliant. So the importance of the work-life balance has never been more important with the rise of mental health issues in the workplace. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it was about the importance of working relationships and the needing to belong within an organisation. Do you have any coping strategies to help employees who are struggling with these issues?
Well, I mean, I think expert advice is always key. So, a lot of employers now offer an employee assistance program where you can speak to an expert on certain coping mechanisms that are specific to your situation. I know it sounds really obvious, but speaking with your employer, that sounds probably too obvious to even say out loud, to be honest, Jackie, but some people allow things to bottle up, frustration, and that mutates into bitterness. Employers should have open lines of communication where you can talk about how you're feeling, really get a quick fix to it so life can move on and everyone can focus on the job in hand. That doesn't always happen. They should feel that they can approach management, and leadership should have the correct education and be equipped with the right skills to be able to not just manage a job, but you're managing emotions and you've got to create a social safety net for your staff. So I do think the role of the leader has become more complex, more psychological, more having to be attuned to people's well-being. 10 years ago, you could probably say it was more about get the work done. It's certainly mutated, so that intelligence in leadership's really key.
Yeah, and what we're finding is a lot of companies we're working with now have a strong mental health sort of first aid team, as well as their traditional first aiders. They have people that are specially trained in that area now, so that, if you are feeling vulnerable and you need support, that there's somebody there you can talk to.
It's a brilliant thing to have. We've got mental health first aiders here at Peninsula, and lots of our clients do. And not only that, it enables, again, that another route of communication to someone that's been educated, because they do go through a full qualification process. So it's really advisable, that, Jackie. Very helpful to have.
Thank you. So we currently have 5 generations of within the workplace, and from the traditionalists through to the Gen Zs, it's a real mix. It's the first time ever this has happened in current times, and so this means the workplace needs to be so many things to so many people, from quiet space to buzzy space to socialising, think tank space, all of these different elements. How are your clients managing the impact of having so many different needs in the workplace and working styles?
The ones that do it most successfully are the ones that are truly inclusive and are truly embracing difference, because that's the fact we've got 5 generations of staff, of workers who can all bring different perspectives and different thoughts. That is a brilliant set of ingredients for a successful business. So, you know, having open forums where people can be creative and bring ideas is the way forward. Where I see it not happen as successfully is where there's kind of, I suppose, stereotypes around certain generations, and you see it on TikTok and everything. And you know, Gen Z. I even read an article last night. I got invited for a meeting at 8:30 and I refused because I wanted to go to the gym, and that's perceived as negative. But this individual's contract didn't start till 9. So there's 2 sides to it all, and it's about accepting that the world of work has changed and what people expect from the world of work has changed. Be open-minded to that. It's not necessarily a negative. Embrace it, bring all them different people together, and that could be a really great recipe for a successful business.
I totally agree. I think there's a lot to be learnt from all generations, be it those that have been around much longer and their experience. In my own experience, their communication skills are a lot more adaptable and flexible than maybe some of the youngsters coming up, and I think that's because of technology driving how we communicate now. And so there's a lot to be learnt with that overcross as well, I believe. So it's get everybody in the office once a week and make sure they're all talking to one another. Do something fun. That's my advice.
For sure. Embrace it.
So the future of the workspace. Oh, this is a topic that gets heavily debated. My belief is eventually that there'll be a flagship head office building, maybe in different, one in every country, maybe, but somewhere where you would go and you would meet and you would collaborate with your colleagues and peers. But I don't believe there will be this need to have multi-faceted estates where you've got hundreds of buildings. I think we've adapted and we've changed so much more now. As a result, what's your feelings and ideas around the future of the workspace, Kate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to agree with you. I certainly see your bigger corporates have massively reduced their office space, and they've got, as you say, collaboration spaces where the workforce comes together for really key milestones in the annual employment diary, and where you can maybe have more social aspects to that collaboration and that coming together. I would say a slight caveat, though, it's not the same for every business out there in the UK. You know, your SMEs, your medium-sized business are probably much where they were, to be honest, Jackie. But certainly your corporates and your blue chips are leading the way, and it's very much changing in terms of the way people work. But it'll be interesting to see where your smaller businesses go and how that adapts, because I'd love to sit here and say I know for sure, but it's such an ever-changing climate, and so many influences, the cost of living, what people expect from work, SMEs struggling to even keep their head above water. There's so much social, political influences that are impacting where the world of work is going. I'd be lying to you if I said for sure what would happen, but interesting. It's interesting to keep watching it mutate and it evolve, and it keeps us interested, Jackie.
It does, and I think technology will have a major bearing on that. All of the advances with AI, some of that is absolutely fascinating, and where we'll be in 5 years from now is I guess nobody will know. But one to watch, and interesting times ahead. But been really lovely speaking to you today, Kate.
Thank you, Jackie,
for taking the time to come and speak to our viewers, and hopefully everybody's really enjoyed that and has been able to take something away. Thank you.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, Kate.